No, no! No! Are you listening?
Sean from Middle Grounded. I have tried to make this video multiple times. I'm going to see if I can get through it this time. Something comes up or I'm interrupted. Whatever. But if you're introducing someone to pornography, I want you to do it in this order. First, the uncut footage of the sting. And then let them watch like Dustin McFetridge or Paul Beaver Hunter. One of these guys for reference so that they understand how Lorne is compared to the others. How absolutely pathetic he is. And then let them listen to the Ramona calls up until the reveal. Let them see how dangerous he is. Then have them go back and listen to somebody like Babsby go through the chat log or read it themselves, because all of the warning signs were there in the chat before the Ramona saga even came up. Lorne would do suggestion and buttoning. Buttoning is not like pressing the red alert button or the alarm button. Buttoning is closing the loop. And Lorne would have these cycles, these loops, and then he would use the button of "I love you" to close it off. Lorne stopped asking questions to the decoy. He started saying things like, "You're anxious to touch my penis, aren't you? You can't wait for me to do this, huh?" Constant suggestion, giving her the answers he's looking for so that all she has to do is say K. Because if he were to ask her, "What do you want to do?" she would say, "I don't know. I guess. Would you want me to do it?" And he can't have that. He's got to have the suggestion confirmation. He absolutely has to have it. We know Lorne is insecure. He's constantly asking the decoy, "Do you love me? Am I enough for you?" And the glee he took. The disgusting glee he took when he talked about how he was going to fool her parents and do it in a bed under their roof. I hate this man so much. Lorne is a giant piece of human garbage. He's not funny. He's not harmless. He's dangerous. And there are real victims out there that we don't know about. You don't learn how to button things up and suggest until you've learned that those grooming techniques that work, those are the ones that you employ. You take her through your cycle. You take her through the routine. Just like in the military. You take her through the cycle. You take her through the routine. And then you confirm. "I love you. Yes, sir." But Lorne's not smart enough to know that. Lorne is selfish. And Lorne remembers things that work for him. Being smart would mean that entire plan he created, I would have given him credit had it not been for the fact that this dumbass didn't know that everything he was doing would leave a trace. The whole "let's break up on MySpace or Yahoo and let's go over here and we'll do this on this platform," and not knowing that everything he did would be recorded, not knowing that deleting your archives wouldn't matter. He's such a jackass, and he got what he deserved. If it wouldn't have been for precious Princess Kayla, there would have been a real victim. Because remember, he was chatting with two other decoys at the time he was chatting with his precious princess. Kimmy Cocoa Puffs and Disney Girl, something like that. I can't remember. Of course, he said NBC, a global conspiracy to take him down. In the chat, he was terrified. You guys know about alpha male Derek, probably, if you're listening to this. Good old DJ Derek, who was her ex. And at 13, you don't have like a serious ex, man. I was crushing on girls every single week, and every week I was calling a new girl my girlfriend, and we'd hold hands in the hallway, maybe talk to each other. If we had a class, we'd try to sit next to each other. But in Lorne's head, she's gonna bang DJ the first chance she gets, because we know how Lorne views women. A masturbatory sleeve that have to give it up anytime a guy is ready to go. They don't have a choice in the matter. So during this chat, she brings up Derek, and I got to give Sherry Twist credit. Because at one point, she gets that Lorne gets mad that Derek was at the party and tried to talk to her. Lorne continues to ask questions because he wasn't going to let her go to this party and not tell him about it, because he just kept asking, are you going to tell me about it? Hey, Lorne, there's a tornado outside. I need to get under a shelter. Why are you trying to get around telling me about your party? Were you cheating on me? I mean, you know that was going to happen, but he wouldn't let her not tell him. So Sherry Twist, in a moment of genius, says, I'm thinking, when he asked about what happened, and after she'd mentioned Derek, and then she says, he came down and sat next to me, and I just pictured Lorne throwing the pot pie that he was eating across the room. God, give me grandma, whatever he says, chucking it across the room. Then she says, and he tried to put his arm around me, and that was the point. I just pictured a naked Lorne running outside, looking like the Yeti he does, the melted ice cream of a body that he has, throwing things around because his imaginary 13-year-old girlfriend was being hit on by an age-appropriate kid. Lorne had so many opportunities to get out of that. He had so many chances to leave. He had so many just warning signs that were popping up, like what she was talking about school stuff, talking about her parents. Every time they talked about her parents and having to call in sick to school and things like that, those are all red flags, Lorne. You could have gotten out of there. You could have just said, you know what, conscience, you're right. This is a child. I shouldn't be trying to ruin her life. Because the disgusting and vile things he wanted to do would have ruined her life. The entire chat is a disaster in the making. It is something that could have damaged a real child. When you have your friends, anybody that gets into pornography, when they read this chat, when they get about, I don't know, maybe a few days in, get their thoughts. Then when you get about halfway in, get their thoughts again. This is after they've listened to the Ramona calls. They're going to start to see everything that he did with Ramona in this chat with the little 13-year-old girl, which shows you Kayla would have been a prisoner had she got in that vehicle. She would have been a prisoner. He asked her later on the phone calls. That's what they should go to after the chat. Why are you rushing? I don't want you to get off the phone. I want to keep you on the phone while I'm smoking my cigarette. It was an early warning sign that he just can't not be on the phone. His entire focus was on this imaginary 13-year-old girl. He ditched going out with his friends a few times. He went out with his friends, but he came home early so that he could talk to her. He said he loved her, I think, in the first night. Anytime this guy thinks that he's going to get laid, he immediately goes into I love you. Yeah, a little bit rambly, I know. But that's because he thinks that two people who love each other are guaranteed sex. He's ready to fall in love with anybody. He's ready to just skip past the courting and the romancing and the making out and the feeling out process and just go straight for I love you, let's get married, because that means we can have sex. Lorne's a virgin. You'll never convince me otherwise. He is a virgin. And the chat log, the way he was talking about sticking it in, and we're going to do this, and you're going to go, oh, because that's what women do. He doesn't have a clue. He never will have a clue. He's still a virgin. If he was not a virgin, he wouldn't have this giant defense mechanism on. He wouldn't assume everybody was cheating. He's never had sex. So he's afraid that if a woman finds a guy with a penis that's bigger than 3 inches and isn't curved and broken, she's going to immediately leave him because he knows he has nothing to offer. Nothing. Physically, emotionally, or mentally. But in the virtual world, with Kayla, he could be the protector. He could say that he was going to be the provider. He could be the romantic, the lover. But in reality, he was just a scumbag who got caught. As I've said, they never meant to do it. I didn't want to go there. Was because of his conscience. Because his conscience was telling him not to go there. But he did it anyway. And now he can look back on that, and in his little pea brain, where his 56K modem connects his brain to his mouth, it tells him, Lorne, in the Jamie Amy Romont voice, Lorne, you didn't really want to go there. No, Lorne, your conscience told you not to go there. You went there anyway, and you got caught. You went to prison. You tried to groom Rhoda. You came out later, you had real victims, and you deserve to be caught because your level of grooming was next level. So if I talk to my kids, I would tell them patterns, speaking patterns that adults use if they want to get you to do something. At first, they will ask you questions. Then they will want your opinion. They will get your thoughts on what they're doing. And then they will tell you things and just want a one-word response, which is an affirmative. Okay. Because that's how it starts. And then they push their boundaries. And they'll always do the, oh, I was just kidding, if it goes too far. Lorne tested it out on his nieces. I know he did. You never convinced me otherwise. He had no options other than to try to groom girls with no experience and no idea of what was to be expected from a relationship, from a man, because Lorne is not a man, and from sex. I hate this man so much. Anyway, stop your stupid bullshit. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.